Shane Bangle with the Manna Group, and today I want to just share some knowledge with you, talking about homes and parts of homes and what are important. I want to share a little bit of knowledge of land and living outside of the city, and in this scenario when you have a well on your property. So if you live outside of the city where there's not city water, water becomes very, very important. If you live in the city, you kind of just get used to always having water. You don't really think of freezing. You're not worried about these types of concerns or not having water. If you live in the country and you have a well, you have water, but you have to be concerned to make sure you maintain receiving water. One of the biggest, probably most common things that happens is that you have a well, but that well requires an electronic pump to pump water to your house. So unless you have a generator connected to your house, if the power goes off, you also therefore have no water because the electric pump can't pump the water to your house. So these are things when you live outside the city to consider. I want to talk to you just a little bit more about wells and how they work. Obviously, people come in, they drill a hole down through the earth, and they hope to hit water at some point. We live on one of the biggest water aquifers in the world. We get lots of rainfall, lots of snow, and that water goes into the ground, and below us is lakes, streams, and rivers galore. So when you drill a hole into the ground, it's just a big straw that's going into the ground. Hopefully you're hitting some of those lakes and streams, and water is flowing into that hole that you're drilling, and then you can pump that water out of it. Some of the difficulties in the area with wells is that you have areas where you have granite or you have clay, and those things are harder for water to pass through, and so it can be hard for that water to be available in a wide dispersed area. In areas that have a very heavy, like a very wide dispersed gravel basin, you're almost always going to find water relatively easy, I would say. But when you're hitting clay and granite, it can be a lot more difficult to find that water. One of the interesting things when you're in an area with a lot of granite, they'll do a thing called well fracking. And what they do there is they seal off that hole in the ground, the tube, and then they do minor explosions, hoping to break that granite up and hit some of those fractures where there is water, and then that water runs into your bore, into the hole of your well. Also very important with the water in the well that you pull out of the ground, the water that you pull out of your well in the ground is what is the quality of that water. So you want to know how much water you're getting, the quality, and then the quantity. So we want to test that by an independent lab, make sure that it doesn't have uranium, bacteria, anything that is going to be harmful to your body. We do a test on typically 5 very specific, and then some more broad if you want to be more broad in those areas. You can filter nearly anything out of your water. It just becomes a matter of cost. If it's just something small, like there's some bacteria, those filters are relatively easy. If it's something like uranium that is harmful to your body, but it's also a very small particle, that filtration can be much more expensive. So when you're considering living outside of the city and on land, water is very important, and there are a multitude of issues. I am a minor expert. Again, we rely on well testers and well drillers and can get a multitude of information to you. If you have any questions on water or well or living outside the city, please reach out and we'll be happy to answer any questions you have.